Thousands of power outages being reported by Duquesne Light.
Radar.
Pittsburgh's chief meteorologist Stephen Cropper is tracking how cold things will get now, Stephen. An alert's going off right there.
Tornado warning, David. We've got a tornado warning, and I'm going to step off camera. This literally happening as I'm walking in to show you these wind gusts. This is something we've been watching now for the last 15, 20-minute period, and there was a severe thunderstorm warning, and now we have a tornado warning in play for Westmoreland County. Let me get you the details on that. Literally happening as we were walking on camera. So this will be parts of eastern Allegheny County working into Westmoreland County, and this is a tornado warning that is a result of this strong line of wind and rain that is continuing to track through. Phones going off now. Your phone, if you're watching us, your phone is likely going off if you're watching us from Monroeville, also working over to Saltsburg, and it's all related to this line of very intense wind that is tracking eastward. And Addis Uklo is suiting up right now. He's going to join me here in just a second. Let me know when you're ready to jump in, Addis, and we'll let the folks know what is going on with this. This line has had severe wind with it, strong wind at 58 miles per hour, and the movement on the particular cell is right over Aspinwall and near Penn Hills, moving east at 40. So let me drill down and give you a look at that. And Addis, you jump in as you have new information for us.
Yeah. This is a radar indicated tornado, Stephen. So radar indicated rotation. Looks like right over the Highland Park area. We're looking just south of Aspinwall, actually coincidentally the same area that got that tornado back in the spring. So it is moving to the east, as you mentioned, at about 40 miles per hour. So places like Blawnox, Penn Hills, parts of Plum, and even if you live in the northern sections of Murraysville, that is going to be headed your way here, and it's moving pretty quickly. So 40 miles per hour means it'll be on your doorstep here soon. So you see the times on your screen there. No confirmation of a tornado yet. I'm not seeing any indication of a radar-confirmed tornado, but we're seeing that rotation, Stephen, and that rotation is tight enough that the National Weather Service decided to issue a tornado warning. Again, this rotation just now near Aspinwall, moving basically right along Allegheny River Boulevard in the Penn Hills area, east at about 40 miles per hour.
So again, if you're just jumping in with us here at the top of the 5, a wild 45 minutes of weather. We've had 58 mile per hour wind gusts, severe thunderstorm warnings, and now we are under a tornado warning, and you see the area there. I have it kind of mapped out for you. As Addis was just saying, this is East Hills of Pittsburgh, and this is the line that did produce a 58 mile per hour wind gust across the airport. So here's Penn Hills, there's Upper Burrell, and there's Vandergrift, and you hear that tone going off. That is likely a phone, or it is a phone here in the studio. And if you're watching us from Penn Hills over to Blawnox, over to Upper Burrell, you need to be prepared to head to a safe space. As Addis mentioned, this is a radar indicated tornado warning, so we don't have confirmation, but I can tell you that with a 58 mile per hour wind gust, we're likely going to end up with some wind damage as just this line rakes its way eastward. And all of this is out ahead of the cold air that is marching eastward with just some incredible dynamics in this system. I want to show you a different perspective. So we often talk about the wind and how it is picked up on radar. This is a way we can kind of see inside the storm in that area that is producing the strongest wind gusts there, now moving into Edgewood. You see the lighter pink running from Penn Hills down to McKeesport. Just do a quick dive here and see if we can pick up some of these stronger wind gusts. There's a 57 mile per hour wind gust. We've got a wind gust here at 56. So this leading edge, or the leading edge of that line that's producing the heavy rain, anywhere from 40 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts will be sweeping eastward. So regardless of whether or not we end up with a confirmed tornado, we are looking at winds strong enough to bring down some power lines or cause even more utility problems, as we were already getting in Beaver, and also just debris, Christmas decorations, things of that nature. Monroeville, you are under that, and that system's continuing to march east. Addis, anything new popping in the last couple of minutes?
I'm just looking at, we have a product called the Debris Tracker. If we could take our other weather source, I am noticing a little bit of a suspicious signature with this that's now moving into Penn Hills. We're going to get that up and ready here for you in just a second. But basically, the radar can also tell us if there is debris being lofted into the air. This could be pieces of a tree or a house. And so anytime we start to see a drop in this indicator, that tells us there is the potential that a tornado at least briefly may have touched down. So you clearly see that trend here over about the last 5 or 10 minutes as that circulation crossed through the Highland Park Morningside area, and it is now heading into Penn Hills. So that's the latest that I was watching there, Stephen, and it basically coincides with that area of rotation that you were watching. It does look like we have an update now to the tornado warning. I do see that flashing color on the screen there. So we're going to take a look and see if the National Weather Service has confirmed anything. It does look like they are still keeping this tornado warning in effect. So I'm going to get that loaded up for you here in just a second. They are continuing the tornado warning until, let's see, 5:30 p.m. So still looking at that rotation close to Aspinwall or near Penn Hills, moving east at 40 miles per hour. And again, just to give you that list of locations, Penn Hills, Plum, Verona, it's basically right over top of you right now. So if you are watching us from Westmoreland County and you're in that red box, you want to make sure that you get inside because this thing is going to be on you pretty quickly, moving to the east at about 40 miles per hour. Stephen, that's the latest that I see.
Jason, if we could jump back over to thank you. And what we're looking at here is the tornado warning that was issued just as the top of the hour was rolling through. It's a very narrow focus tornado warning, but the concern is even outside of the tornado, we have these incredibly strong winds that you can see just sweeping eastward in pink. And this is a line that did produce gusts upwards of 60 miles per hour across the airport. So now that line is just marching eastward. And as Addis was just saying, that area around Penn Hills, Aspinwall, hit hard just in one of the most recent tornadoes. And right now, that's the corridor that system is marching through. Just going to do a quick drop in here and kind of look at one of these peak wind gusts in that area. And outside of a confirmed tornado, we're still getting those very strong wind gusts upwards of 50 miles per hour. So that is enough, obviously, to bring down some power lines or do some damage. And this area right here, Addis, I'll let you confirm as I'm kind of drawing here, but I am seeing a little bit of a notch right there around Penn Hills.
Yep.
That seems to be the area of connection that you're seeing?
Yep, exactly. That's the area of rotation and that possible tornado debris signature that I was just referencing. And in the National Weather Service chat here a few minutes ago, Stephen, they're also saying possible tornado debris signature near Penn Hills. So, at this point, it does not matter if it's a tornado or if it's a lot of straight line winds. It's very strong wind that is coming through regardless. So, Stephen, you just put a track on there. It's going to be into Plum here in about the next 10 minutes, and then it'll be heading out into Westmoreland County. So, yeah, that kink is also what we are following here closely. Although in the last couple of scans on the velocity, it does look like it's becoming more of a straight line wind threat. We're not quite seeing those couplets that we did a few minutes ago. So hopefully that's a sign that maybe this is starting at least to transition toward more of a straight line wind threat.
And when you say straight line, Addis, just to give the viewers an idea, this is this shaded area of pink, 40-plus mile-per-hour wind gusts, but it's this leading edge that we're kind of watching running eastward, and that is what could also, outside of rotation or a couplet or any kind of confirmation of a tornado, produce some concern. Addis, if you look south of Penn Hills here, I'm starting to see a little bit more in the way of a notch on the velocity. I don't know if there's a couplet to go with that. Just to the south of Monroeville,
yeah, and these things have been kind of just flaring up and down. It's been very quick. We've been actually following some of these couplets over about the last hour or two. So, yeah, definitely still possible that we have that. And by the way, Stephen, we do have our first storm report in McDonald. We have trees down on Valley Street, and that was estimated at 4:30 p.m. So, quite possibly could just be from damaging straight line winds, but it's from that same line that went through the area here and that's moving through right now.
I would anticipate, Addis, that we're going to start to see some wind damage reports coming in as that line marched through Penn Hills and that Aspinwall area. Just tremendous wind with it. And, as Addis was saying, we're seeing these notches or what could be signatures kind of pulsing up and then pulsing down, because the system producing the cold air that's going to be sweeping in here this weekend is just incredibly dynamic, and it is kind of creating its own atmosphere as it moves eastward. If you're just joining us again, we are watching a tornado warning. We're under a tornado warning for parts of the Pittsburgh area. Let me see if I can get back, get a track on the counties or the areas that are in that tornado warning. It continues, as you can see, the National Weather Service is updating it, and it continues. Addis, give me the end time on it again, please.
The end time is 5:30.
5:30. So we are under a tornado warning as a result of just this dynamic system that continues to march eastward across the area. I'm going to step off here and take a look. Addis, aside from that straight line wind situation, the rain has not been all that impactful with this. It's a very narrow little corridor.
Yeah, it is. And this front is very strong. I mean, we saw what the temperature did over the last few minutes, Stephen. The airport went from 61 degrees to 48 degrees in a matter of 10 minutes. So I think that really gives you an idea of how strong this front is. And so all that cold air bringing that wind down to the surface. And so you're showing that tornado warning still, Stephen, that's in effect until 5:30 p.m. We're going to be watching that here closely, and we'll stay on the air until that expires.
That line is continuing to move eastward. I just want to drop another quick track on it. This is on top of the severe thunderstorm warning that had already been issued. And you can see this red shaded box here, or the outline of the box, kind of stretching into Westmoreland County. Penn Hills, it is blowing through your area now. Pittsburgh, you should be in the clear with the reduction in stronger winds there. The leading edge of this, though, is just packing an incredible punch. And let me see if I can broaden the shot out here a little bit for you. Just to give you an idea, literally I did a track on this a minute ago. The corridor of the strongest winds may only be about a 4 to 5 mile range, and it's running along this big differentiation in temperature. Temperature is what's driving the wind and helping to bring in the stronger wind gusts. And you can see, as Addis mentioned, in about a 13-minute period, we dropped from the 60s to the 40s. So then you take that wind and you factor that into how the atmosphere is sort of turning over. And that's why we are just seeing the threat for wind damage at a minimum, and the possibility even for tornado. So far, once again, if you're just jumping in with us, this is a radar indicated tornado. Have not seen a confirmation of a tornado. We have not seen any reports of a confirmed tornado, as I'm aware. But if you're watching us from areas just to the east of Penn Hills, stretching eastward into Westmoreland County, be prepared for this line to sweep eastward in very short order. Last track, it was moving at about a 30 to 40 mile per hour clip, and that is going to quickly bring it through parts of Westmoreland County and heading eastward. Addis, anything new that you have?
Just a new severe thunderstorm warning that's been issued now. So this is kind of out ahead of this line. Now, National Weather Service is basically blanketing much of Armstrong, Indiana, Westmoreland counties with that severe thunderstorm warning. So that's for the concern of damaging wind gusts, and that's possibly upwards of 60 miles per hour. So we'll see if this tornado warning gets continued or not, but at the very least, we do have that severe thunderstorm warning that was issued for those counties that I just mentioned. So that includes those of you who are in Greensburg, out towards Latrobe. Stephen now loading that up on the map here. That orange box represents where that highest wind threat is right now. And again, within that line, we're still watching that very narrow corridor there from about Penn Hills over into Plum, into parts of Westmoreland County, where there's still the potential of some rotation. Although admittedly, Stephen, at least over the last 5 or 10 minutes, that couplet that we were following is not quite as tight as it was. I was showing that debris signature, or possible debris signature, at about 5:03, 5:05 p.m. Not quite seeing signs of that, at least anymore. So we're going to treat the threat seriously, but at this point, we will work with what we have. 58 mile per hour wind gust at Allegheny. That's the Pittsburgh International Airport in Allegheny County. So that's the maximum wind gust that we have so far. And there you can see it on the map. And we were watching as that line went from eastern Ohio, western Pennsylvania. We had a gust over 50 miles per hour in Wheeling. And, Stephen, it's continued to just kind of sweep west to east through the area.
And one of the impact points here is that how fast it's moving at about a 40-mile-per-hour clip. So literally you might jump up in the 60-mile-per-hour range, but then on the backside, look, the wind dropping already in Beaver. So Beaver, you're getting into the safe space. The severe weather threat is now past your area. Still across Butler, you're getting stronger wind gusts, and this is the line that's going to be moving eastward, and that's why the National Weather Service folks in Pittsburgh pegged that little corridor, kind of a narrow corridor here across parts of eastern Allegheny County and working into Westmoreland County, where the threat for a tornado was spinning up. And as Addis and Stephanie and I were kind of watching the radar signatures earlier today, we could see a little bit of a movement, a rotation as that line was tracking northward and eastward, and that is what's helped to create a radar-indicated tornado warning. No confirmation at this point, but outside of the tornado, we're talking about a 60-mile-per-hour wind gust. That's driving on the parkway kind of speed. I guess that's a little above the parkway speed limit, but that is wind strong enough to pull down some limbs, branches, debris, Christmas decorations. So as you're headed out tonight, just watch for debris on the roadways. I think David Johnson has some updates for us. David, what do you have?
Well, actually, a question for you, Stephen. There was a time when rarely, if ever, did a tornado or have a warning for the city in the densely populated areas around the city. I think a lot of us remember June 1998, Mount Washington and Hazelwood, but then this past summer in May, a tornado actually hit Island Park. I remember covering the tree damage in the zoo parking lot there. Now we have a warning. I know one has not been actually spotted or confirmed, but here we are with a warning. I think that's interesting in the city, or again, the heavily populated areas around the city. Now we have another one just 6 months later.
Yeah, I think it's a sign of the atmosphere changing, obviously. Things are changing. We're warmer. We have more moisture, but just the dynamics with storms as they continue to blow through, they have an opportunity to tap into more. And you mentioned the one from 6 months ago, and Addis just mentioned that off camera, too. He said, this Aspinwall area got thumped just in this last 6 months. And David, I recall being on camera with you when that line tracked through, and just incredible damage. And to see it real time, we had video of someone in a car. As I understand it, Addis, the tornado warning has been allowed to expire. Is that correct?
Yes. So the National Weather Service says the storm which prompted the warning has now weakened below severe limits and no longer appears capable of producing a tornado. So you saw in the graphic behind you the red box disappearing. The warning is canceled. However, gusty winds, heavy rain still possible with this line. So those of you in parts of Armstrong, Westmoreland, Indiana counties, just know you still have a lot of heavy rain and wind coming your way, but the tornado warning has at least been allowed to be canceled early.
Yeah, and we've seen that line kind of marching into Westmoreland County now. So David and Lisa, I'm going to toss it back over to you. We're going to regroup and kind of gear up for the remainder of this severe thunderstorm warning in Westmoreland. And we are going to check here. Actually, we're going to stay with this as we do have a severe thunderstorm warning. And let me see if I can broaden the shot here to get the details. Addis, what's the timeline on the severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Westmoreland?
That is until 6:15.
6:15.
Yep.
And something that we're not seeing as much with this particular sector of rainfall are the little kinks that we call them on radar. Oftentimes, the way this system has been tracking through, we were getting just this movement which would help to create circulation. It's becoming more ragged. It's not as concise or as tight as it was, but we are watching still a severe thunderstorm warning for areas in Westmoreland County and southern parts of Indiana County and Armstrong, and that is going to be tracking eastward over the next half hour to 45 minutes. The temperature drop on this is just lights out. We're literally going through 4 seasons in one day. We're talking about 60s with severe thunderstorm warnings, tornadoes. Now we're focused on wind and colder temperatures at 48 degrees. And Addis, you mentioned a drop there in 13 minutes.
Yeah, actually, yeah, it was 13 degrees in 10 minutes. We've went from 61 degrees at the airport down to 48 degrees. So I think that's a pretty powerful indicator of how strong this front is. And even further, we've dropped now to 46 degrees with the wind still gusting in Pittsburgh over 40 miles per hour. So obviously it's about the rain and wind now. But luckily, Stephen, the parameters that we were looking at earlier when it comes to the instability or the amount of fuel available for these showers and storms to work with, it's really starting to come down, which is good news. And I think that's why the rotation has weakened as well. Lisa, I'm going to go over to you.
One thing I do want to point out to folks is you guys have been talking about the high winds. We do have a number of power outages to report. Duquesne Light has about 5,000 customers out. Allegheny County is reporting about 3,462 in Allegheny County and about 1,600 or so in Beaver County. Those numbers are likely to go up through the evening, especially with that quick storm kind of moving on in, those rotating winds. I'm sure there are a number of people right now who have their power is out and they can continue to watch us and to monitor us using their cell phones and WPXI, our WPXI app.
Yeah, and even behind the line, we're seeing gusts still over 40 miles per hour. So I would imagine those numbers will continue to increase. I know just now seeing reports of power outages in Aspinwall as well. Again, not surprising at all, given that that was right in that area that we were watching, Stephen, where the worst of that rotation was. And even though that has weakened, we're still looking at that straight line wind threat as it's now moving into Westmoreland County. And some heavy rain, too.
Yeah, it looks like it's on the doorstep at us of coming into Greensburg. I am pleased that it's not as concise. It's not as tight, the line itself. But even so, there's Greensburg. Let me get you down a little bit closer. It is going to produce very strong wind gusts with it. The strongest winds are ahead of and with that line that I pointed out a moment ago. But here's Greensburg, Youngwood, North Huntington. It's past you, so you are in kind of the safe space now. No more threat there, or the winds should be decreasing. But be prepared in Greensburg, stretching into eastward and south even, down towards New Stanton, Youngwood. You can anticipate that very strong wind coming through. And with our radar, we can kind of pin out when or where the heaviest rain is falling. And some of the heavier rainfall now is just moving into Penn. There's Route 30 stretching into Greensburg, and also to the south of 30. We're still under that severe thunderstorm warning until 6:15. Damage reports likely to continue to come in, and the good news is we did not end up with any confirmation of a tornado. I know phones were going off. Here in our studio, the phones were going off, and at home, likely for the East Hills, you saw the tornado warning. I just want to tell you, we've had no confirmation of a tornado. But even outside of that, we are getting some power outage reports and some damage reports. Pretty incredible wind gusts. At Greensburg, I would gear up and be ready for the strong winds coming in short order. That line is with that colder air that Addis was talking about, and it's going to continue to track eastward. The tornado warning, again, has been allowed to expire or cancel.
If we can just jump in really quickly, Stephen, a couple of things to let people know. First of all, be very, very careful out there. There are a lot of wires down, power lines down all over Allegheny County. We are also getting reports now on Meade Street in Millvale, reports of wires on a car with a person trapped. Our Karasapita is headed that way right now. And we are also hearing reports of trees down on houses. Again, just be very careful. Do not head out if you do not have to be there, because, again, there are a number of power lines that are down.
Yeah, and Stephen and Addis, I wanted to pass this along from my wife. I had texted her. We live in the city. We live in Squirrel Hill. And just be careful, storm moving through. And she says, from her text to me, the worst of it has passed now. I honestly thought the front oaks, we have 2 large oak trees in our front yard. She says we're going to break in half. They didn't, but I'm sure this is an experience many, many people have across our viewing area. The trees are just twisting and bending, and no doubt a lot of them have come down. So that report from my wife. And I'll send it back to you guys.
And I do want to also say Duquesne Light is also reporting about 21,000 outages right now in Allegheny County and Beaver counties. Again, those numbers are likely to go up, but we are starting to get damage reports coming in South Park, reports of a tree that is on a house. We also are hearing reports of a person possibly trapped in their car on Meade Street in Millville. So we do have our reporters, Channel 11's reporters all around the city right now and all around the region covering the damage reports as they begin to come in.
Susan Copen has some further updates for us. Susan, what do you have?
Yeah, also just chiming in, tagging along here with what Lisa was saying about the power outages. That's something that I'm monitoring here on my computer. 21,284. That number seems like it's staying steady right now, but again, it could always go up. Also, I wanted to, if we could, take a look at the time-lapse footage that we have from our tower camera. And this was as the storm was rolling through downtown Pittsburgh. Over the last hour or so, you could see just how dark and ugly it got out there. I was talking to a friend of mine via text who is in Aspinwall and also someone who is in the Verona area. So right near Longview Club, which is in Verona, they said that the worst has passed there. They're seeing not a lot of damage except one tree branch that came down. And in Aspinwall, they were reporting that the storm seemed like the worst had passed there. Power outages, of course, sirens going off, but not too much damage to report from that area as well. We're going to be continuing to check with Duquesne Light and making calls on damage throughout the area. Stephen, back to you.
All right, great update there, Susan. Thanks for that. Just want to point out again, outside of what we had was a tornado warning, we are still just getting some incredibly strong wind gusts. The peak at Pittsburgh International in the last half hour is 58 miles per hour. So again, perspective, that's driving on the parkway, and that is a speed, obviously, that is starting to bring down some tree limbs, do some damage, power outages, and we're about to cross into sunset and into the evening. So watch for debris on the roadways tonight. I can't stress that enough as we just continue with these very powerful winds. A lot of folks putting up their Christmas decorations in addition to some of the live wires that might be a problem. This is the severe thunderstorm warning, goes until 6:15, so we're still about 45 minutes out from that. And notice it's stacked in for areas east of Pittsburgh. About 25 minutes ago, top of the 5 o'clock news, I was on camera and a tornado warning was issued for that area around Aspinwall and Penn Hills. And now that line continues to advance eastward, and you can kind of see it here, the leading edge of this lighter pink. These are the stronger wind gusts that have produced the damage across Pittsburgh, Penn Hills. And we continue to watch that line moving east. We are going to get some more updates on the damage. We have crews out for you. I'll also have more on the severe thunderstorm warning, plus a look ahead to the colder temperatures and snow. Channel 11 News returns after this.